Over the last few months, the Diddy meme has become fairly popular because of what is going on in the Diddy court case, where basically a lot of stuff is coming out showing how freaky deaky Diddy likes to get in his own private house with a lot of different actors and just a lot of like random people in general. And a lot of it is like facts, right? Like it's people actually coming out and talking about it and giving their own stories about it and like all that stuff. But apparently, the facts are not enough for the courts. You might be asking, well, what do you mean by that? Well, basically, Diddy was accused of multiple different things, including trafficking or transportation of basically explicit workers, I guess you could say. And he has been found not guilty on multiple different accounts of basically just not doing anything. Essentially, no matter what has come out in court, no matter how much people have spoke out against it or anything like that, almost every single charge has been dropped against P. Diddy. And it's just absolutely crazy to me. So we're going to be going over that a little bit today. So if we look here, he was these are his current charges that they were trying to get him on, which is racketeering, trafficking, and transportation. And it's so strange to me because he's not guilty of racketeering, according to the court, or I think he had a jury, if I'm correct. So, according to the jury, he isn't guilty, which makes zero sense. Like, these guys have to be paid off or something like that, especially with how much evidence is kind of stacked against him. But he's not guilty of trafficking on two accounts of it, but he is guilty in transportation. And now this doesn't make sense to me, right? How can you be involved with the transportation, but you're not involved with the trafficking or fraud or coercion, you know? Especially with how many like videos and audios and everything that has come out. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they just had no evidence, maybe this entire time the internet's been blown out of proportion and there's just no evidence against him. But I don't think that's how it is. I think genuinely they just had the dumbest jury imaginable. This is the type of jury that, like, I guess, I don't know if it's jury or lawyer or whatever, but they had the guy that was sent from heaven himself defending Diddy, apparently, and the jury hook, line, and sinker got it. It's like the people who got like King Von off, where it's like it's such a technical thing that they probably got him off on, where you kind of question why it's a law, I guess you could say, you know? And I have always kind of had questions about courts and stuff like that because it's always very confusing to me how people who you can see there's evidence against, like, there's evidence that stacks and stacks and stacks against them. There's memes all over the internet. There's people that have been saying stuff for years about it. Like, I feel like they didn't even try. And I don't know 100%, like I said, but like, I feel like if you are getting not guilty on most of your charges, right? Either they are charging you for some like random BS, or they didn't even try to get the proper evidence, Like, did they have Justin Bieber actually come in and talk on it? Did they have, I think it was like Michael Jordan, um, like, did they have these people come in? Or it was like Michael Jordan or like LeBron James. I don't remember exactly, but there was a lot of different people involved in this case, from my understanding. So, how is it that only one thing, he's basically only getting charged for one thing, and that's transportation, but he's getting charged on on count three transportation, or it's just saying that this is just in general his charges, and then he's getting charged twice for transportation, basically. Which transportation is essentially nothing. Like like out of every single thing that they have him on, that's essentially just a slap on the wrist. Now, I will say one of the things that kind of ended up happening with this is he basically thought he was going to end up going home, and he basically just told him like, no, you're not going home. We are not setting bail for you. you are sitting in jail, which I think is a W, which means that the judge probably disagrees with the jury, right? Because the jury doesn't have control over like if you're going to sit in jail or get probation from my understanding. They just have a in general overlook of like if you're guilty or not guilty. Um, so it's kind of weird though that a case like this, that from my understanding, the FBI was actually building up, is a jury case and not just a judge case. I think something like that's a little bit weird because the jury can be anything. Like let's say the jury has seven people who like Diddy, right? Who are like, man, Diddy is like one of my favorite people ever created. Well, then it's rigged. Juries can legit be rigged, like from the start. It's why a lot of people don't like to run a jury, because juries are good if you're trying to appeal to the common folk and you're trying to appear to the public. But in general, I feel like something like this, where you're getting kind of charged with trafficking of people just in general, it's like, man, what jury is letting this slide? You know, like there has to be someone on there that was just fighting it for weeks and like maybe eventually got worn down, or something like that. I just have absolutely no clue. And I did see this thing today where people were thinking like, oh, they're going to be able to go after the government because of the charges. He's still guilty. Like he's still getting a guilty charge on multiple charges, right? It's just the fact that there's no charge for basically luring someone into your house, and then like coercion kind of goes into it, but basically, being like, yeah, you can't leave, like there's no technical charge for that. I guess like entrapment, maybe false imprisonment, but they weren't charging him with that, right? So they're trying to prove these charges. They're not trying to prove false imprisonment, maybe some other explicit things. They're trying to prove these charges, and I think that's also something that kind of they got wrong, was going after these specifically instead of actually going after like more in-depth ones. Because if they went after more in-depth ones and the jury wasn't rigged, then there's a much higher chance that he doesn't like get not guilty, that he doesn't just like get off the hook kind of. But yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. He definitely can't go after the government. Like I think that'd be kind of crazy to be like, yeah, I'll go after the government, I'll sue them now for like misinformation or something like that. It's like, dude, the only thing that came out was the case itself. After like what do you do, like flee or something like that? Like they literally tried to arrest him, and it probably would have just been like a kind of under the rug kind of thing, and then we would have found out like a month or two later. I mean, we see that with a lot of popular people as it is, where unless there's constant paparazzi, we're not figuring out that they're being arrested until a month or two later once they go through the court process. But in a situation like this, like it's not the government's fault that his name got dragged through the mud. People have been dragging Diddy's name through the mud for years. It's just that when they arrested him, obviously the memes came out about it as well. And he's still guilty on a few different accounts too. So he's still going to get memed on either way. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's just a very interesting court case, like in the first place. So I just really wanted to talk about it today. But hope you guys enjoyed and have a wonderful night. Peace.